Alexander sat behind the bar in an unfamiliar bar on the outskirts of the city. He wanted to be alone. He wanted to take a break from the large number of people surrounding him lately. Having ordered alcohol and a snack, he leisurely sipped from a glass, occasionally snacked and looked at the visitors. There were not many people, mostly young people. They were drinking, talking, dancing, kissing in darkened corners. In general, everything is usual in such places. Alexander's attention was attracted by a girl sitting on the opposite end of the counter from him. She too, like him, was drinking leisurely. But she was not looking round. Having waited for half an hour and having realized that the girl was without any accompaniment, Alexander decided to sit down. "Oh, hi. It's not very nice for a girl to drink alone." "And you, I see, in the rules of decency, Doc." "No," Alexander grinned. "The girl turned out to be evil. They can take advantage of your condition, and you can't defend yourself." "Are you offering your services?" "To be taken advantage of. Don't get your hopes up. Why would I want a drunken teenager? I prefer sober girls who are loyal to me. I just wanted to sit alone, but I can't. I want to socialize. I see you're alone too, and not in the best of moods. Maybe we can help each other out. You keep me company, and I'll try to cheer you up." "What a bore. But thanks for the underage girl." Alexander smiled. They moved to a separate table in the corner of the hall. "My name is Alexander Denisov. You can Sasha, you can damn. And I'm Alexander Sergeyeva. You can be Sasha. Not Shura. So, it turns out. Namesakes." "Well, come on, namesake. Let's get acquainted." They got to talking. It turned out that they had a lot in common. They liked the same books, films, places, and even computer games. When it became clear that both of them had been drinking a lot, Alexander became bold and asked, "And how old are you, sister-in-law?" 23, Sasha answered easily. "And you?" 42. He's well preserved. "You're not bad either." They left the bar. "Do you live far away?" Alexander asked. "Do you want to go out?" "Are you sure you're not a maniac?" "You're not my maniacal type." "Then, if it's not too much trouble." Sasha accompanied his new acquaintance to the door. They said goodbye, and already leaving her entrance, he remembered that he hadn't taken her phone. Well, then it's not fate, Alexander decided and called his driver. Angelica wanted something all the time. Lately she began to demand from him, as if from her own husband, with whom she lived in marriage for decades. Although they didn't even live together, it was just that Alexander had no other girls but her. Perhaps it was her merit. Angelica was understandable, almost 30, or maybe already. Very beautiful, with a huge ego and demands. She didn't want to barter for some middle-class oligarchs, and they were less and less interested in her. She needed a big good fish, so that she could make a lot of money, and not be ashamed to go out in public. Like Ronaldo, or Beckham at least, Alexander met her needs. He was manly handsome, young. An ignorant person would never say that he was over 40, 35 at most. Intelligent, although in this case perhaps it is not a virtue. Obscenely rich, influential in certain circles. Not even his couple of terms under his belt were embarrassing. The only fat disadvantage he had was that he didn't consider Angelica as a spouse, not even as a civilian, not even as a steady girlfriend. And Angelica was pissed off. She stopped controlling herself and almost demanded from Alexander certainty in their relationship. Something had to be done about it. Let this relationship go to no, and find another or others not burdened by commitment. The management there is rubbish. They're living in the moment. The owner's a pensioner. He'd rather sit on the river with a fishing rod, but his wife has a thorn in one side. She's trying to do something, but it's no use. She's a bit dumb. Her ego is too high. Her knowledge is too low. A couple or 3 more years and the factory's dead. It's a profitable business if you're smart about it. Take it, you won't regret it. Alexander sat in his office. Opposite him sat his father. Not many people knew that Oleg was Alexander's father. In his time, he was undesirable to have a family, so he carefully concealed it. Alexander was in the habit of calling his father by his first name. So I don't know anything about it. Not at all. You don't need to. You take a savvy manager, replace their just sitting there, and voila, cut the money. Just check in from time to time. You got it. Let's buy it. I'll get right on it. It'll give me an excuse not to see Angela. Maybe she'll back off or move on to someone else. I don't think so. She has a dead grip on you. You're her last hope. Oleg grinned. We decided to celebrate the deal, not because it went well, but because it was easy, quick, and without problems. The owner of the factory was firm against his wife's resistance and quickly signed all the papers, selling the factory for a quite adequate price. Alexander arranged for a table in his club, invited the former director of the newly acquired plant together with his wife. They decided to have a kind of friendly get-together. The party was quite friendly. The new and old management of the plant got acquainted, became friends, and started to make joint plans for holidays. Oleg, Romka, Alexander's driver, and the former director were going fishing. The girls listened to the director's wife with rapt attention. She taught them how to achieve success in their careers. She modestly kept silent about the fact that in order to do this, she had to marry the boss. She had achieved everything herself. From time to time, everyone went down. The table was on the balcony, to the dance floor. In general, the holiday was a success. One Alexander was not lucky. He was completely occupied by Angela. She insisted to finish this boring evening at her house, which Sasha categorically did not want. He looked down sadly where his friends were dancing with girls. Suddenly it seemed to him that a familiar face flashed in the crowd. Deciding that he would remember who it was, on the way down, he hurried downstairs, rudely interrupting Angelica at half a word. Calm down already. Give me a break from you. Having descended, he began to make his way through the crowd of dancers, looking with his eyes, at the same time remembering who, and he came across Sasha. Hi, how are you? Hi, it's my girlfriend's birthday, so we're celebrating. A slow song started playing. Do you want to dance? Okay. The music faded into the background. It seemed to Alexander that they had been dancing like this for 100 years, and he didn't want to interrupt. Did you decide to drink alone again? Sasha interrupted his euphoria. No, I'm with friends too, celebrating a good deal. Come on, I'll introduce you. He unexpectedly invited himself. Is this convenient? Of course. Come on. They went upstairs. Sasha introduced his companion to everyone. In a few minutes, the two celebrating tables united, got reacquainted, and the holiday became more cheerful. Alexander felt like a schoolboy. Shyly wooed Sasha, invited, embarrassed to dance, cautiously touched her, and he wanted very much to grab her in his arms and take her to the end of the world where there would be only her and him. You're in love, son. Oleg sat down to him when Sasha ran away with the girls to powder her nose. Why do you think so? Alexander suddenly realized that his father was right. I've been watching you since her arrival. You fell for her like a teenager. Don't worry, she's got a soft spot for you too. You're like two schoolboys with your first love. What love? She's old enough to be my daughter. She's only 23. And do you remember how old I am? Of course I remember. You're angry because I'm right, so don't make up problems that don't exist. First of all, you're a man and she's a woman. And age is not even a secondary issue. And she's not 15 or even 18, so forget it and go ahead. Maybe this is your last chance for a normal human relationship. Maybe we should go home. They didn't realize Angela had joined them. I'm tired of this kolkhospati, Oleg called the security guard of the club. Please call a taxi for the girl and make sure she leaves safely. Come on, he pushed, surprised but resisting Angelica. Go to your palace. Do not what with us collective farmers to communicate. Alexander and Sasha danced slowly, pressed against each other. They did not notice that the music had changed. It seemed that something was about to happen. Both of them were tense and excited. Let's run away, Alexander finally exhaled. Sasha only nodded. She was afraid that if she opened her mouth, she would squeal with happiness. Almost running, they left the club, got into the first car, whose driver agreed to give them a lift, and Alexander dictated his address. When they entered the flat, everything that was going on receded into the background. They loved each other as if for the last time. When the first passion subsided, they went out on the balcony. Alexander opened a bottle of champagne, poured it into glasses. It should have been done in the beginning. I'm so unhospitable. I brought a girl home and went straight to bed. If I hadn't, I'd have torn you apart. You felt it too. You felt it too. Yes. I felt like if I didn't get closer to you right away, I'd die. You should have told me. You should have told me. I was about to kill someone. It's the first time I've had such a strong, painful attraction, and I'm afraid I'm going to explode. Well, I'm a girl. I can't offer something like that to a man I don't know. I'd rather die. Two idiots, Alexander whispered and walked up to Sasha. The night was just beginning. Alexander woke up to the doorbell ringing. He remembered the events of the night, smiled happily, and turned to Sasha. She wasn't there. The doorbell rang desperately. Alexander got up, threw on his clothes, went to open the door. Romka stood on the threshold. Oleg told me to check on you and to bring some food or you'll starve the girl. There's no one to starve. She ran away. Have I offended you? I don't think so. I forgot to take my phone again. Should I look for it? Tomorrow. You're probably not feeling too good after last night either. A little. What was that all about? Where did you go with that little girl? But it's right. There's no need to bring any whore into our bed. A furious Angelica flew into Alexander's office. Behind her back loomed a worried and frightened secretary. I'm sorry, Alexander Olegovich, I told her. Nothing to worry about, Nadezhda. Go to your workplace. I'll sort it out. Angelica smiled victoriously and threw in after the secretary. Make me a coffee. No need, Nadia. The girl is leaving now. I mean, shut up. Alexander interrupted Angela half-heartedly, having decided to dot all the I's. After the night with Sasha, he couldn't imagine and didn't want to see another girl around him. He was again tormented by remorse about their huge age difference. But he decided for himself, even if they were not destined to be together, but he did not need another woman. I still don't get it. What makes you think we're a couple? What, our bed? On what grounds are you making claims against me? Am I your husband? Roommate? Did I promise you something? Or am I the first man who tricked you into bed? You've had a string of men before me. Or are you madly in love with me? No. You want my money? You gave it to me. I paid for it. Now I've decided to end our business relationship. I think you'll get over it and have no trouble finding a new sponsor for your charms. In case of emergency, you can come to me. I'll give you some money. Now let's say goodbye. And I remind you, in case of emergency, you can turn to me. Angelica was about to burst into unprintable profanity, but Alexander's glance made her turn round and, with a loud clatter of her heels, slammed the door and left. Alexander leaned back in his chair. It was rude, of course, it turned out, with Angela, but now he needed to concentrate on work and once again determine his feelings for Sasha. Angela wouldn't let him concentrate on any of that. He's unreal. I look at him and my hands start shaking and I'm speechless. I'm scared of myself. You've only seen him twice. You've only seen him twice. Olga looked at her friend judgmentally. And the second time you jumped into his bed. I'm freaking out on myself. It was like a volcano inside of me started to wake up. My eyes went black. Yeah. So why did you run away? I would have stayed if I was so attracted. I got scared. I don't want to give in to my feelings anymore, and then it'll be like Vlad. It's better to cut it off right away. Yeah. Vlad's a real jerk. Okay, don't worry about it. It's okay. You got that guy just in time to cure you of self-destruction? Yeah, that's right. Sasha laughed. Listen, what do they say about the new owners? Sasha decided to change the subject. They say that first they will conduct a full audit and then test all the staff. Those who receive money for the pretty eyes will be sent to free floating. Well, and then they will modernize and raise the salaries of the remaining ones, Olga added with a grin. Just kidding. Who needs us? Girls. Enough chatter. Let's get to work. The assistant chief accountant came into the office. The bosses are here. They're going to start calling us in one by one. Make your head look nice. And outside, Sasha and Olga got busy. Closer to lunchtime, it was Sasha's turn. The girls who had already been there said that there were 3 people in the director's office. One sits in the far corner and almost does not participate in the conversation. It is the new owner, but the other 2 sit at the table and conduct interviews, quite friendly and intelligent. You have nothing to worry about at all, whispered Olga, who was leaving the director's office, to Sasha, who was entering it. Yes, I'm a pro. Sasha grinned to herself and entered the office. The 2 sitting at the table looked at each other. There you go. And I didn't have to look for it, grinned one of them and turned and looked somewhere in the corner. Sasha followed his gaze. Alexander came up from the chair to meet her. Sasha felt like she'd been doused with boiling water, then ice water, and she trembled. She wanted to turn round and run without looking back, but her legs were stiff. Boys, let's continue after lunch. You know what I mean. Yeah, sure, no problem. Should I wait for you? No, the 2 went out. Sasha and Alexander were left alone. Why? Alexander asked the question that had been bothering him for the last few days. I was scared. I've had bad luck with relationships. I decided it's better to end them myself than to suffer. I see now that I did the right thing. Why? Alexander found he wasn't original in his questions. Because we don't suit each other. In status, financially, and in general, I'm your subordinate now. Sasha. What the hell is status? You, judging by the fact that you work here, are an educated and intelligent girl. I'm no longer a young criminal. With 2 sentences under my belt, I'm well off. But you've got a lot ahead of you. And about subordination. I am not the director. I am the owner. And according to the job description, you report to the director, not to me. Alexander suddenly came quickly to Sasha, embraced her and kissed her with a long kiss. She somehow immediately went soft, hugged him and responded to his caresses. There was a knock at the door. Roman came in. He smirked when he saw them all bunched up and breathing heavily. You're sorry, of course, that I've interrupted you so unceremoniously. But the secretary wants to have lunch, and she can't leave without your permission. Can't you let her go? I'll take you and Sasha to lunch. No, I don't think so. I don't want anyone to see us together. Sasha hurriedly buttoned her blouse, fixed her skirt, smoothed her hair. Let Lena go to lunch. I'll run to my place while the corridor is empty. Okay, Roman went out. Sash, we're not finished. What? The conversation and what we're perfect for each other. Alexander went to Sasha again. Let's not do it here. Sasha smiled softly at him. It's not a good place for such decisions. I'll wait for you after work. Around the corner, Alexander added, grinning. Let's play spies. All right. And don't try to run away. I'll find you and... Alexander looked at her meaningfully. And if I don't run away? No? Sasha decided to play along. In any case, yes. Only in the first place, where I find Olga was eagerly awaiting her arrival. Don't even doubt it. People like him won't go behind his back. If he gets bored of you or meets another woman, he'll tell you himself, in cultured terms. Thank you, that's comforting. And if it's really your destiny and you're like a girl, fate is fate. Let's take another chance. I'll give it a try. 6 months later, they sat hugging each other on the sofa. There was a show on TV, and snow was falling in flakes outside the window. Do you think... Alexander became visibly agitated. Would a young, beautiful girl risk marrying a criminal who is not old but loves her very much? Well, if he doesn't mind becoming a father in the near future. Sasha didn't finish. Alexander squeezed her so hard that she couldn't continue. Sasha, I didn't even dare to ask you that. Do you want children from me? And when? When what? Well, I'm not in a hurry, of course, but I'd like it sooner, months after 7 or 8 months. Would that be all right? Alexander was speechless. And yes, I agree to marry you.